Imagine just watching tens and thousands of your hard-earned home equity gone, vanished just right after you pass away. That's exactly what happens to San Francisco Bay Area homeowners who don't put their properties in a trust. With median home prices in the Bay Area ranging anywhere between 1.4 to 1.8 million, the probate cost alone is enough to fund your kid or kids' education. Yet, most Bay Area homeowners don't realize that they're sitting on a financial bomb that could devastate their heirs. What if I told you there's a strategy that gives you full control and helps you protect everything that you work so hard to build? Here's how. First things first, let me bust the biggest myth about living trust. No, you do not lose control of your property. Actually, it is quite the opposite. A living trust is a legal step where you transfer the property into a legal trust, and the trustees will manage the property, which is still you who will manage the property for your heirs, who we call beneficiaries. With a revocable trust, you keep full control of this property during your lifetime. And this control and the setup of this trust and the terms that you set forth in this trust is really important, because at the moment where you become incapable of making decisions or managing your affairs, this control becomes really important if you ever become unable to manage your own affairs or finances, which I'll explain later regarding incapacity planning. In California, the trustees legally hold title to the property for the benefit of their beneficiaries. The trust itself is not a legal entity, and the trustee is the one acting on behalf of the trust. Does it sound pretty complicated? But it's actually pretty straightforward if you understand how it works. For most San Francisco Bay Area homeowners, a revocable living trust is the way to go, and the way you would want to hold title if you own one or more properties. During your lifetime, a revocable trust means you could change it, amend it, or even cancel the whole thing. This flexibility is particularly valuable, especially when you consider Prop 13, which I will explain shortly. All you have to remember for now is that a revocable trust helps you maintain full control with major benefits. Think of it this way. This revocable trust is creating a legal container that holds your house. You have control over this container completely. You can open it up and take stuff out. You can add new stuff in, or you can throw it away if you want to. Unlike wills, which only kicks in when you're gone, trusts will take effect right away, which creates immediate protection for your hard-earned equity and your property. So why are these trusts such a big deal, especially for San Francisco Bay Area homeowners? It has everything to do with the Bay Area's high property values and the substantial probate fees that it generates. Let's dig into that next. But before we dive into those shocking probate costs for if you did not have a trust after you pass away, I want to make sure you're not missing out on my next videos. If you own a home in San Francisco Bay Area or is thinking about buying or investing, please subscribe to my channel. Every week, I break down insider strategies and tips you need to know about this Bay Area market. So please subscribe, and let's dive back into California's probate costs. Did you know? California is one of the most expensive states when it comes to handling the probate process. No joke. And when combined with San Francisco Bay Area's high property values, it is the perfect storm for the heirs. Here's the deal. In California, statutory probate fees for both the executor and the attorneys are calculated as a percentage of the estate's gross value. For a median San Francisco Bay Area home ranging anywhere between 1.4 to 1.8 million, we're talking about over $56,000 in statutory fees alone. And that's before we even talk about property tax implications, which I will explain next. So let's talk math. Let me break it down for you. For the first 100,000 of your estate, the fee is 4%. The next 100,000, the fee is 3%. For the next 800,000, the fee is 2%. And for the next 9 million, it's 1%. So for, let's say, a 1.4 million property, that's $4,000 for your first 100,000, 300,000 for your next 100,000, 16,000 for your next 800,000, 4,000 for your remaining 400,000. That equals 27,000. And remember, both the executor and the attorney receives this fee. So double the 27,000, what do you get? $54,000. Then you have to factor in court filing fees, appraisal fees, and other costs. And you're easily looking at about $56,000 as a start just to transfer this property to your heirs. This calculation is based on California probate cost, section 10800 and 10810, and it is not something you can negotiate. Beyond the costs, California's probate process is painfully slow. We're talking about a year or more, sometimes several years. During this time, your heirs and this property is stuck in limbo with limited access. And this delay is problematic, especially for San Francisco Bay Area's properties, because sometimes you need to have management or deferred maintenance we should attend to right away. And currently you can't because the property is in probate. And there's something that most people aren't aware of. Probate is public. That means detailed information about your estate, your assets, your debts, your beneficiaries are public information and everyone can see it. In a high value market like the San Francisco Bay Area, do we really want our information out there for the public to access? But there's another issue that's specific to San Francisco that makes trusts even more valuable. It has to do with our unique tax situation, which is especially crucial for long-term homeowners who would like to reap the benefits of Prop 13, which I will explain next. What is Prop 13, you ask? For many long-term San Francisco homeowners, for those of you who have owned your property for a very, very long time, there's a huge gap with what you actually pay in property tax than what the assessed value of your home might be. And this trust can help you preserve this valuable tax advantage you might have for your heirs. A little bit about Prop 13. It limits property tax assessments to no more than 2% per year, unless there's a change in ownership. The property will get reassessed. So the property tax that you've been paying a long time, which is low and below market value, that would only get reassessed if the ownership changes from you to someone else, which we call a reassessment, which then that property tax will get reassessed to the current market value once there's a change of ownership. And during this change of ownership, the property tax increases to market value. This assessment is directly connected to how your trust could be structured, which is really important when we discuss the process later. Here's a practical example for you. So say you bought your house in 1990 for $400,000. Thanks to Prop 13, even though your home is worth $1.4 million now, your property tax is still based off of when you bought it at $400,000. You're likely paying no more than $5,000 a year. But if the property is worth $1.4 million, you should be paying 3 times that. Now, if your heirs inherit this property during probate, they will face a reassessment of their property taxes, which is nearly tripling their property tax overnight. Combined with those probate fees we discussed, just over $56,000, that creates a double financial hit for your heirs while inheriting your property. We're talking about thousands of dollars extra every year that they're spending. And that leads me back to the importance of having a trust in place if you own one or multiple properties. Transferring the property into your trust does not trigger a reassessment under Prop 13. The Assessor Recorder's Office specifically states that while transferring your property into your revocable trust does not count as a change of ownership under tax purposes. This means once you've structured your trust and you have listed your beneficiaries, when you pass away and this property is transferred into the next trustee and beneficiaries, it does not trigger a massive tax reassessment. You are essentially preserving more of your family's wealth, which is your hard-earned equity. The legal mechanism for preserving this tax base requires specific documentation with the Assessor's Recorder's Office, which I will detail later once I cover the process. But while avoiding the probate process covers all of San Francisco Bay Area properties, there is an exemption if you own one of the city or mayor's program of the affordable housing units. We can talk more about that later. Now, if you bought your home through the mayor program of affordable housing, then if you want to place that into a revocable living trust, you may need permissions from the city, San Francisco's mayors. Then you may need permission from the housing authorities. Those properties need permission from the mayor's housing authorities before you can transfer into a living trust. They want to review your living trust because we talked about revocable living trust giving you full control of this property. But if you purchase the mayor's housing affordable homes, then they want to stipulate in your trust that they still have some control over this property. What the city is likely looking for is the language in your trust that preserves their rights in your property. I know this sounds complicated and it seems bureaucratic, but it is a necessary step if you have purchased a home with the Mayor's Housing Affordable Programs, because this requirement preserves the city's rights in this property and allowing you to have estate planning benefits. So what happens, you might ask, if you own a property in San Francisco Bay Area, and when it comes a moment in your life where you're not able, where you are temporarily or permanently not able to manage it, and you don't have a trust? Well, the answer might be shocking to you, but not in a good way. A living trust gives you incapacity planning that a will cannot provide. If something happens to you and you cannot manage the property because of an illness or an injury, your successor trustee can immediately step in, can handle your finances and estate under a revocable trust. This immediate transition of authority is precisely what makes trust so powerful compared to other estate planning tools. For example, a will. Without a trust, if you become incapacitated, your family would have to petition the court to appoint a conservator. This process is lengthy, expensive, and completely public. The San Francisco Superior Court does handle conservatorship proceedings, which can cost thousands of legal fees and months to establish. Meanwhile, there's no management or property decisions that can be made or addressed. The incapacity structure directly connects back to the trust structure that we covered earlier. While you are the trustor and the trustee, you maintain full control of your property while you are capable. And when the moment you cannot, your trust have already laid out the successor trustee who can step in seamlessly without court involvement. With a revocable trust, you keep complete full control of your property and assets throughout your lifetime. And while you are able, you can change it, you can amend it, and you can cancel it anytime you want. You maintain the right to buy, sell, and manage this property or properties, just like it would be while it's still under your name. And typically these trusts are Samantha Huang Revocable Living Trust, and I'm the trustee of my trust. This full control and seamless transition is only created with trust, which wills alone does not do. This peace of mind is invaluable. I've seen examples of both cases. When somebody becomes incapable or is sick, if they don't have a trust, their heirs are scrambling to get control and they have to petition the courts. And the court system do not move quickly just because you want them to. This is especially true with homeowners who have young children. While you have full control of your estate and the trust while you are capable, what happens when you become incapable and your children are still minors? When you work with a really good estate planning attorney, they will help you line out the specifics until your children is 18, 21, or 25. Maybe until they are capable while you're still incapable, somebody else can step in and manage this trust. And they have the fiduciary to make sure they act to the best interest of the trust. So these are all really important steps to protect your equity, protect your assets, and everything that you've worked so hard for. So now that you know the benefits, the pros and cons of a trust versus a will, you might ask, how do I get this done? Creating a trust in San Francisco Bay Area, there is specific guidelines to follow, and knowing the steps can save you time and money. First, you'll need to choose the right type of trust for your family. For individual homeowners or families, typically they do choose what we call a revocable living trust. It gives you all the probate avoidance and the incapacity planning benefits while giving you full control of your estate. This is where that control element I emphasized throughout the video gets implemented into your estate planning. Next, you'll prepare that trust document. Could you do it yourself, you might ask? Technically, yes. But should you? Definitely not, especially not in San Francisco Bay Area. I strongly recommend working with a qualified attorney who knows San Francisco Bay Area inside and out, the nuances of our local requirements, and they make professional suggestions based on your life milestones and family situation. An experienced attorney will be able to guide you through this process seamlessly. After creating this trust document, you'll review it. Then the attorney typically also help prepare a transfer deed to transfer the property from your current individual names to this new trust that you've now created. And remember, this deed transfer is still within the Proposition 13 guidelines, which does not trigger a property tax reassessment. Now, if your property is purchased with the mayor's housing, you need to make sure this trust gets approved by the mayor's office of housing. After recording your trust and transferring title of the property into your revocable living trust, then we can call your properties are officially entrusted. Pro tip, keep those trust documents somewhere safe and somewhere where the beneficiaries and also the trustees can find it. This accessibility and having your trustees and beneficiaries know where to find this living trust document is critical. The moment where you're incapable of making your own decisions or pass away, your heirs and beneficiaries know where to find this document. If they can't find it, they can't exercise their authority. There is absolutely no need to rush this process. Give yourself plenty of time to prepare, work with the trust, work with a qualified attorney, review the trust documents, give it some thought, and then record it as a last step. Remember, when preparing your trust documents, there are upfront costs. You have to retain and work with a trust attorney. But when probate costs are upwards of $56,000, know that preparing your trust docs are a fraction of that, if it even gets to 10%. So that means putting your property in a trust makes it one of the smartest investments for this property or your property's future. So the question really isn't whether you should or should not put your property in a trust. It's a matter of when and how you could do this effectively to maximize the benefits that we talked about. San Francisco Bay Area homeowners, I am passionate about this topic. After helping hundreds of clients purchase their property, I also discuss with them how they can protect their future equity. I witnessed this time and time again, how a living trust can protect a family's assets and equity over time. So whether you own a classic Victorian home or a high-end luxury condo, or the property you purchased is through the mayor's housing of San Francisco, the right trust structure is unique in our market. The most important steps you can take to protect your properties during your lifetime and beyond. And if you're thinking about starting to put your properties in a trust, I'm happy to connect you with my trusted estate planning attorney who specializes in our local market here. As your real estate trusted advisor, I can work alongside your legal team to make sure all of the property details are accurate and they're properly reflected in your trust documents. Just give me a call with the phone number on your screen or send me an email at soldbysamanthah@gmail.com, and I will guide you through the process every step of the way. Are you ready to find the right trust solutions for your home? Well, let's make it happen. Speaking of amazing Bay Area properties, check out my Winston Manor tour in South San Francisco, where I tell you more about the Burry, Winston Manor, and Westboro district of South San Francisco, and how South San Francisco's growth trajectory is modeling after Millbrae and Burlingame, but at half the price. Whether you're a family seeking great schools or moving up from a condo, click on my next video to see the hottest areas of the peninsula. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.